Yo, what's up guys? It's King Sean here, and in today's video, I will be talking about the Commanders' NFC Championship matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles. Won't talk about it for too long, only a little bit because I'm going to be previewing it all week long, so just going to talk about it a little bit in today's video. I will mostly be talking about guys that stood out in our victory over the Detroit Lions on Saturday. So I'll be talking about maybe 3 to 5 guys that stood out in that win. And then I'll also be talking about an injury update DQ gave us on Sam Cosmi. And y'all already probably saw it already, but I'll make sure to talk about that in this video. Before we get into today's video, if you guys are new to my channel, leave a like down below, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into today's video. So after we pulled out an upset on the Lions on Saturday and the Eagles beat the Rams last night, we will be playing each other next Sunday for the NFC Championship. Whoever wins obviously punches their ticket to the Super Bowl, which is still so crazy to say. I mean, we were 4-13 last year, and now we have a chance to get to the Super Bowl with the win on Sunday versus Philadelphia, right? So it's just awesome, and this game is going to be super fun to watch, man. Cowboys fans and Giants fans, especially Cowboys fans, they must be feeling it that an NFC East team is guaranteed to go to the Super Bowl, man. I mean, that's got to suck. Like, that has to suck. But, yeah, man, I'm super excited for this game. You know, it's going to be a tough challenge. You know, not going to overlook the Eagles. We can't overlook any team. It's the playoffs, right? All teams are great. I watched the Eagles last night, and they didn't look very impressive, right? Obviously, Saquon, you already know Saquon went crazy last night. Their defense did look pretty good against the Rams. I feel like you can run on the Eagles. Kyron Williams had over 100 yards last night, and by the way, he fumbled last night, and that was returned for a good return that set the Eagles up in scoring range. Don't think they scored a touchdown there, but a field goal. But that fumble basically put the game away, right? So, you know, we can run the ball on the Eagles, though. Like Kyron Williams, like I said, he had over 100 yards last night. And us establishing our run game on Saturday against the Lions, that gives me confidence to, you know, establish a run game, right, versus the Eagles next week. Now, with Sam Cosmi hurt, and I'll just say it right now, we already know he tore his ACL, which is so heartbreaking, man. I mean, Sam Cosmi, he's been our most consistent O-lineman over the past 2 years, which includes this year, of course. So it just sucks to see him go out that way, man. Like, he was one of the guys that absolutely deserves to be experiencing this success, right? So, you know, it sucks that he went out like that. And him going out like that this late into the season, like he tore his ACL in mid-January, he's probably going to be out for the first half of the 2025 season as well. So that sucks. So, you know, when we get to the offseason, we'll probably talk about who we can sign or maybe draft to fill in for Sam Cosmi until he comes back. But, you know, we'll get to that when we get to that. But, you know, prayers up to Sam Cosmi. Saw his post on Instagram. It was very heartfelt. So, you know, hopefully all goes well with his recovery, and we're doing it for him now. Like, we're going to win this whole thing for him now. We're going to try to, and he said that in his Instagram post, right? Win this thing for him, and that's exactly what we're going to try and do. That's just extra motivation for us, right? So, once again, get well soon, Sam Cosmi. But him being out, that might hurt us a little bit, right? Trent Scott, he did come in. He was very quiet. I think he had a really good game versus Detroit on Saturday. But Detroit does not have a defensive tackle like Jalen Carter, right? So, you know, it'll be a tough task for Trent Scott and the interior O-lineman to guard Jalen Carter. He had a fumble versus us the second time around, or our last game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And the first time around on Thursday Night Football, he was an absolute force, right? So that's the scariest player on the Eagles defense, right? And obviously the scariest player on the Eagles roster in general is Saquon Barkley, which, of course, we got to limit him. Like, we're not going to totally stop him, right? You're never going to totally stop Saquon. He went crazy on us the first 2 times we played the Eagles, right? So, you know, we got to find a way to at least somewhat limit Saquon Barkley. And if we can do that, we can force Jalen Hurts to be a passer. And I know y'all watched Jalen Hurts last night. Look, he was 15 for 20, 120-some yards. If you pass for 120 yards against us, that ain't going to work. I'm sorry, that ain't going to work. And especially if our offense gets going, if our offense is moving the ball down the field, scoring points, yeah, that ain't going to work, Hurts. That ain't going to work. You won't have Saquon to carry you if, you know, our offense is working, you know, moving down the field easily, scoring points. You're going to have to pass the ball, bro. So, hey, man, Jalen Hurts can't keep passing for 100 and some yards a game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have a really good game, right, in order to beat us, because I'm telling you, our offense is going to move the ball downfield. And I know the Eagles' defense is really good, but we just scored 36 on them a couple of weeks ago, back in week 16, right? So we can score points on their defense. We know it. So, hey, man, Jalen Hurts, he's definitely the worst of the 4 quarterbacks remaining in the playoffs, right? But yeah, that is really all I have to talk about. Just to, a little preview the championship game next Sunday. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Obviously, we got to be prepared for this, man. But, the fact that we're just 1 win away from making the Super Bowl for the first time in over 30 years, I mean, that's just insane to me, right? That is unbelievable. So, once again, we know our matchup for next week, and now it's time to prepare for that matchup. Now I want to talk about some guys that stood out in our 45-31 victory over the Lions. First off, B-Rob and Austin Eckler. Man, our run game was back into action on Saturday night against Detroit, man. When our run game is working, our offense is unstoppable, man. Like, it really is. Like, it really is. B-Rob, he had a really good game. 15 carries, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked like the B-Rob in the beginning of the season, weeks 1 through 13 of the season, before the bye week. It was so great to see B-Rob back in action. And look, hey, man, it's not only B-Rob, that has caused these struggles on the run. It's the run blocking, and the run blocking was really, really good versus the Lions. The Lions ranked 4th in the league in run defense. Like, that is a tough task to run the ball on the Lions because of how good they were at stopping the run, and we did it. B-Rob, once again, like I said, had a really good day, 2 touchdowns. Eckler had 6 carries for 47 yards, including a 35-yard carry. And then Jeremy McNichols had 1 touchdown as well at the goal line. So, hey, man, shout out to the run game, because when our run game is going, boy, no one can stop us. Like, our offense is dynamic in general with JD5 at QB. But when our run game is humming, hey, man, we're really hard to stop. We really are. Next guy I want to talk about, De'Ami Brown. He continues to shine in the playoffs, man. Playoff De'Ami is a different breed, man. If we can get this out of De'Ami every single season, like, that would be amazing. He's been looking like a complete receiver in these 2 playoff games. He had like 89 yards versus the Bucks last week. This week he had 6 catches for 98 yards, including that deep bomb from JD5 where the defender was literally covering his face or his eyes. His eyes were literally closed, and yet the ball was dropped right into his hands. He caught it. Great job, man. JD5, that throw was beautiful. Like, if you look at the film, like, from his perspective, man, the release on that was absolutely insane with pressure coming. He had to get it off, and he delivered a huge deep ball to De'Ami Brown, and we ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive to Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz also had a really good game. He was checked for a concussion, but came back, so really good to have Zach Ertz out there. Obviously, Terry did his thing, man. That 56-yard or 58-yard screen pass touchdown, man, that was absolutely beautiful, man. It really was. So, Terry, he gonna do his thing. Defensively, Jeremy Chin and Quan Martin, they both made plays. Thought Jeremy Chin had a really good game. Obviously had the game-sealing interception, but also had some really nice tackles. Quan Martin, that pick 6, man, was absolutely huge. We haven't had a pick 6 since the Panthers game, and that wasn't even picked off by one of our DBs. That was picked off by Dante Fowler Jr., right? So, we don't really get pick 6s, and the fact that Quan Martin was able to turn that interception into a pick 6, man, that was really fun to watch. So shout out to Quan Martin, man. He stepped up big time in Saturday night's game. And then one more guy I want to talk about, Dorrance Armstrong Jr., man. He had a really good game. He had 2 sacks, 2 TFLs, 3 total tackles, man. He also had a strip sack, obviously, on, I want to say, the Lions' 3rd drive of the game. And Frankie Louvu recovered the ball over there, right? So Dorrance Armstrong, man, he has been really good in these playoffs, man. He's been generating a good amount of pressure. He's been getting to the quarterback, taking the quarterback down, man. I've been really impressed with Dorrance Armstrong. He is really fast for guards. Like, I like him better rushing from the inside than on the outside because he is super fast for guards. Versus tackles can kind of, hold him up. But versus guards, he's almost unstoppable, right? So when Armstrong is lined up over guards, man, hey man, he is really hard to hold up. So, once again, Dorrance Armstrong, he had a great game versus Detroit. And that is really it. Obviously, some guys I want to give shout outs to. Jonathan Allen, he had a really good game. The whole D-line had a really good game in general, right? Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner, they did their things, right? Marshawn Lattimore, hey man, Lattimore, hey, shout out to Lattimore, man. He had a rebound game. He was pretty much locked down on one side of the field. He was targeted once, no catches, no receiving yards. So shout out to Marshawn Lattimore. He had a really, really good outing. So that is it for the guys I wanted to talk about that stood out. And that is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're in the NFC Championship, y'all. Hey, man, championship week. It feels great. And obviously, we're going to be talking about our matchup all week long. So make sure y'all have noties on. And other than that, it's been King Sean, and I'm out. Peace.